I just decided that's going to be a whole rabbit hole that I don't want to go down right this second.
Yeah, fuck Shrek. It's just a meme. That's all it is now. That was the first movie ever to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
It was the
first? Shrek won an Academy Award?
Correct.
Oh my god.
The first one?
Correct.
Holy shit.
What was it against?
Other films?
I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
I'm TJ.
And this is a review. On today's episode, which is episode 55, we'll be reviewing The Lego Movie 2, the second part. Lego Movie 2, the second part, is a sequel to the Lego Movie, but not a sequel to the Lego Batman movie or the Lego Ninjago movie. It follows the story of Emmett. What's his last name? Emmett Brakowski, played by Chris Pratt, and his special best friend, not girlfriend, special best friend, Lucy, aka Wildstyle, played by Elizabeth Banks. What did you guys think about the Lego Movie 2, the second part?
It was good.
And this has been a review. Thanks for listening.
I'm TJ.
But I agree. It was good.
It was good.
It wasn't great,
Yeah.
but it wasn't bad either.
You know,
Correct.
But there's always this problem with sequels, especially to great movies that I don't expect to be great, like the Lego Movie.
Yes.
Like when I saw that first one, I wasn't prepared for how awesome it was going to be.
Everything was awesome.
And it just still is.
It still is.
You can rewatch it.
It's a great movie.
And so this had a lot against it going in of preconceived notions for me, and
but also a lot going for it with a great
for
world and a great framing device and everything.
But the framing device, what makes it so great in the first one is not knowing the framing device.
True, it's a twist.
So now that you know, how are you going to play with that? So they were going against a lot, and they did pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I will say, speaking of the framing device, which, okay, just to rewind back to the Lego Movie, obviously, if you've seen it, you probably have if you're listening to this review. Basically, the whole story you find out at the end is his dad is President Business, the villain, played by Will Ferrell, who is basically trying to keep his son away from the Lego City. He wants it to be perfect. And so it's this great reveal. It's this thing that's going on, and it's kind of the outside world of real life that's the reveal. And in this movie, and in the end of that movie, you have the tease of the second movie, which is President Business, Will Ferrell, saying, well, now your sister has to be able to play too. If you're allowed to play with my Legos, so is your younger sister. And this movie picks up immediately from that point. It's one of those sequels. And the sister is a young sister, and she comes in with Duplos, the child-friendly version of Legos. The big block Legos we all remember. Dumb Duplos. And that's kind of like the invasion in this movie. It kind of takes over the Lego City, and that's kind of, we go from there. And I think that's a nice kind of starting point.
Right.
I didn't feel like they really did much with it, because immediately it's 5 years later.
Yeah.
It's oh, okay.
A lot of the best comedy, though, in the movie that they set up right away is, the baby voices with, the weapons and the aliens.
Yes.
That shit's hilarious pretty much throughout. They have, these little heart and star torpedoes, and they're all, goo goo gaga, fly through the air, I'm gonna get you.
It was very, it was very reminiscent of Ike from South Park.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a lot more innocent, but it was actual kids,
Totally.
and that was really funny. I agree. And the 5 years later thing kind of took that away, because then because you already know it's the little girl, so there's not that reveal. You know, it's the kid is the boy is Emmett and his pals, and the girl is now the Duplos and their gang or whatever. And then 5 years later, the Duplo people have evolved into Lego / I don't know what the...
There's got to be some new kind of Lego
They've
that's
been out...
more hip. And...
No, it's like the more focused at girl Lego. There is another version of Lego that has these tall, slender figures. Those are actual characters
Interesting.
that I'm not as familiar with, but there's 3 lines of Legos. There's Duplo, there's Lego proper, And then there's also this other one. I mean, there's also like Bionicle. There's other
I was
lines.
gonna say,
of,
what about the Anakin?
I know.
Yeah.
I
Well, where are no Bionicles in this movie?
no, but they kind of
Damn
scratch
it.
that itch with some of the like Mad Max style like.
Well, they had
vehicles.
They did have reference to Bionicles in the first Lego movie.
Yeah.
They had a reference to like all the different offshoots of Legos.
I'm always down for more Bionicles.
Yeah, I
so.
think that. I honestly think that would have been a more fun way to go. Maybe the third movie they can do that, but whatever. Because that could be more of a small soldiers thing. You can get more into like Toy Story territory of like actually interacting with humans more. Anyways, so you've got these whatever Legos you want to call them. Like they're like in between Duplos and Legos. They're like tall Legos, and the tall Lego is led by Tiffany Haddish, who plays. What is her name? Queen.
Whatever you wanted or something.
Queen. Whatever wannabe.
yeah.
Whatever wannabe. Yeah. Whatever you want to be. Played by Tiffany Haddish, and she kind of starts off as like a horse, pink horse, and then she just turns into whatever. And she ended up being a character I vastly disliked because every time she would come on screen, it meant it was time for a bad song.
Besides the songs,
The
I very much enjoyed her actually.
Well, yeah, that's the only part of her I didn't enjoy was that she heralded in the musical segments of this movie, which were all very like act breaky. Like we're going into this part of the movie. Here's a bad musical number. Like the first one was cute, about like introducing her character and showing her power set or whatever.
And if it had stopped there, I would have been okay with it.
Yeah, but it got way too like little kiddie, and this is a kid movie, no bones. It's a Lego movie, but like the first one was a lot more aimed at adults, and it had the mind. It was the audience was people that grew up with Legos for all ages, and this definitely felt like it was aiming at that kid audience more.
Right, like no curse words in the whole movie.
It was way more pandery. Like it was way more like a generic, more formulaic.
Well, that's what like the songs were a lot more like
Yeah.
the song in the first movie, like the Everything Is Awesome, was kind of used to a certain effect. Like that was kind of part of the whole. But these felt very generic and not very funny, and they were just kind of like, all right, they felt like the Disney songs like a villain would sing. Like I kept thinking of like Ursula.
They were, yeah.
And I was like, let's just move on past this
Well,
and get back.
And one of the things is they have other songs in the movie.
Right.
So there's a lot of songs because there's the Ben you got it stuck in my this is gonna get stuck in your head.
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, the country song, the one with T-Pain.
Yeah, there's a song
There's
called
that.
"This Will Get Stuck in Your Head."
There's
They have a new version.
credit song.
The credit song.
Oh my god.
We'll get to the credit song. I don't want to. That'll be towards the end.
Stay for the credits.
Yeah.
If you stop listening before we get to it.
Yeah, that's
just
the best
know.
part. So yeah, the Tiffany Haddish Queen, whatever you want to be, kidnaps all of the characters. Wild Style, Benny, played by Charlie Day. Captain whatever Beard, played by Nick Offerman. All the Allison Brie, the kitty, takes them all away to basically the little girl's room, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Emmett is left to try to rescue them. And he's met by... I'm not even going to build up to it. It's future Emmett. You know, if you've watched anything of this trailer or if you've seen the movie at all, you immediately know, oh, that's Emmett. It's just like easy alternate Emmett or future Emmett or something. And yeah, it's future Emmett, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jaded Emmett.
He's like Chris Pratt action hero, Lego guy. So he has trained raptors. He's kind of a badass. He's got facial stubble.
They made a joke about like how handsome he is underneath the baby fat, which I thought was pretty funny. And he's doing kind of like this like John Wayne-esque like voice. He's like John Wayne / Kurt Russell, like which Kurt Russell is basically just doing John Wayne to begin with. So
It's kind of like Star-Lord versus Andy Dwyer.
yeah, it totally is. That's definitely like I think they're
voice-wise.
trying to play that up a
Yeah.
little
Burt
bit.
Macklin thrown in there.
And it works
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, their dynamic together is really funny. And kind of seeing their dynamic, and even the turn of him being the villain, I thought was kind of a fun little twist. And Tiffany Haddish, who you think is the villain, not being the villain. So like, there's, it's kind of cute, but nothing that's like jaw dropping or anything that's like too shocking. Like none of these twists, they're all soft pitches, really. You know what I mean? And the problem with this movie is it just kind of meanders. Like it's just kind of like, okay, here's the conflict. We'll kind of just do whatever until we get there. There's not really like a good series of like do this, and then we get, you know.
Yeah.
And the first movie had all these fun different worlds we explored, and the way they did it was very like cool and quick. Where this one, it felt like the journey was the movie too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not as tight in like plotting as the Lego movie is. You don't feel like you're kind of progressing to all these different spaces. You're just kind of traveling through like the Lego sphere, if you will.
Yeah, it was a little just more like vague.
Yeah, it's like way more of like a sustained or like a prolonged quest as opposed to like where you're like bouncing between and like accomplishing goals.
Because there was a lot of like going from one surface to it. So it basically established in the Lego universe, I guess. In this movie, I think they established that if you're on a table with Legos, you're fully animated, you're doing the thing, you're in the world. But if you're off the table, or if you're moving from the table to another Lego surface, you become inanimate, almost like the toys from Toy Story. And so whenever there's a lot of traveling between Lego surfaces, if you will, and then they become like, it's like, okay, so the kids are just running around between each other's rooms, and then you start thinking about the real life aspects of like what's going on too much, and I think that kind of bogs it down a little bit. Where the first one is just really focused on the world of Legos, and sometimes the outside world is affecting it in little ways, whereas this one is like a little bit too 50-50.
Right.
You know?
When they went out of the world, it took me out of the movie.
Totally.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trying to like give the whole family an arc, I guess, in the way that they did it. I thought they were going to set up that mom and dad were getting a divorce.
That's what
I
oh my
thought
god.
yes.
The marriage was mom finding a new stepdad.
Well, I thought that they were divorced, and that because they keep talking about how they want to have this marriage, and there's this wedding ceremony, and Batman's gonna get married to Queen whatever wannabe or whatever, and yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And towards the end, they introduced Maya Rudolph as the mom, who I thought was really phoning it in, by the way. Like,
yes.
Just as someone who I think is hilarious usually, hardcore phoning it in here. But not as much as Will Ferrell, who literally was phoning it in. He's not in the movie. I mean, like
His voice is.
his voice is, but, like, it's always, like, even off camera. Like, even his character, his Lego character fucks off, like, right away. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go golfing now, bye. And then, like, you just hear him in the real life segments being like, kids, listen to your mom! Like, where are my pants?
Yeah, he's just purely the lazy dad in this.
It's great.
It's awesome.
I will say, though, as funny as that is, it kind of pissed me off. Because it kind of ruins the first movie. It's one of those, like, it completely takes away all this great character development they've done with the dad and the son in the first movie, and then they just throw it all away, and, like, no, he's just a deadbeat dad now that doesn't give a shit. Like, don't worry about it. It's like, why even? Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Compared to the divorce plot line, it's pretty disappointing because you would think.
Well, what it ends up being is just the son and the daughter are fighting, and it's them learning to play together, which is cute.
It's cute.
But it's
cute.
not, there's not much there. It's just
pretty well-worn territory.
And like the whole the whole thing is like Maya Rudolph, she's been like, if you guys keep fighting, we're gonna put the Legos in storage forever, and that's kind of the conflict in the movie is they don't want to be put away forever, and she does it. She's like, that's it, final straw. I'm putting them away forever, and they pack up the Legos and put them away, and then Maya Rudolph finds them at the end playing together with the Legos. And instead of just, like, telling her, like, no, I told you had to put those away. Like, she's like, oh, they're playing. It's fine. But it's like, wasn't this how this happened before? Was they were playing and then they started fighting? And, like, okay, whatever. I'm nitpicking a little bit now, but.
But they learned their lesson.
Did they, though?
Well, disobedience is adorable, so I don't
She's not a very
blame her.
good mom. She's just like, kids.
Will Ferrell's just yelling at the same time, so, I mean... I think Maya Rudolph's killing it.
That's true. There's a whole, and that's true. Even in the first movie, he is kind of this like weird like closet case that won't let his kid play with Legos. Like he's never been a great dad to begin with.
As an alternate pitch, though, it would have been fun to watch them just kind of go to Civil War on the playing field, and every once in a while have the dad interject and have President Business come back in and be like,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 and like try to do a peace treaty
As like a
and
referee.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it would have been a fun role for
See,
Will Ferrell to come into.
That's a movie. That's a much better movie that you're pitching right there, of having the table be the main setting more and having them both trying to take over and the two worlds colliding. I think they wanted to do that to a degree, and it's like you kind of get that towards the end a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's like that could have been a really fun, interesting movie. You could have had the literal war, and you could have avoided all the traveling, and you could have had all the characters stay together. I mean, we're making our own movie now, but with the we're taking the Lego bricks of this movie, we're taking them apart, we're building our own
That's
movie.
what Legos are all about.
Yeah.
They'd be happy.
I just wish that we could make this a reality. Like, could we make this happen?
I think this is the part where I segue in and say that this movie had a good bit of development struggles.
Oh, really?
Did it?
Originally, Lord Miller were going to do it, and then they were like, we'll just write and produce it. And then I think Chris McKay, the guy who did Lego Batman,
Yeah.
was going to do it, and then he just did Lego Batman instead.
Well, and he EP'd this, and then Lord
Yeah.
Miller did write this.
They did. They get final credit, but they brought in the guy who does
Mike Mitchell. He directed Sky High
Yeah, and Shrek Forever After.
and Shrek Forever After.
So they got some journeyman animation director to come in.
And yeah.
And they originally were going to have, there's kind of a big hire, the guy who does BoJack Horseman.
Right.
Raphael Bob Waxberg.
Yeah.
Was brought in to rewrite the
Perfect.
script, and they apparently threw all of it out because he's not even credited on the movie at all.
They were like, Emmett can't become an alcoholic and knock up Wild Style and make her have an abortion. Like, that's not happening.
Well, yeah, 'cause what would the third one be about?
Well, yeah, then
Lego Planned
the
Parenthood.
kitty kills herself or ODs on cocaine. You know, that's if the creator of BoJack Horseman is writing the Lego movie. You know what I mean? Like, they probably turned in some pitches like, no, this is way too dark, man. Like, we wanted a kids movie, like, aimed at adults, not an adult movie aimed at depressed adults. But I would have been interested to have seen that, though. What he actually would have turned in. That could have been an interesting take. But yeah, what we have here is kind of disappointing because, once again, going back to the first one, and you can't not compare it to that. Obviously, you had a lot more fun with the voice, the guest characters that would come in, and all the different Lego characters that were inhabiting this, so they had the rights to this. This felt like some of them were there, but it was mostly just the kind of greatest hits, like Superman and the DC characters, and like.
But the Raptors show up.
Well, yeah, the Raptors are funny. The
They're
Raptors are a continual funny joke because they have like subtitles for whatever they're saying. They're a very good like visual gag. Green Lantern's usually pretty funny when he hops on. Allison Brie cracks me up pretty much anytime she's on screen as Unikitty. But yeah, it's just missing that overall charm of the first movie, I think. It's just that piece, that heart, that little Tiffany Haddish heart is missing from this movie. Ironically enough, her little Lego heart is missing from this movie. And I think from that, we'll be ready to build our final thoughts. So, Ben, final thoughts on Lego Movie 2.
Lego Movie 2 is fine. You know, it still does have some pretty good humor. Like, I was still chuckling pretty often. No, like, belly laughs like Lego Movie. It doesn't have that same, like, sharpness and, like, joke-a-minute quality that the Lego Movie has. Animation's fine. I felt it kind of just... This is just a tapered down, kind of sanitized version of what the Lego Movie is. And the whole time I was just kind of getting flashes of, I just want to watch the Lego Movie.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, let's just watch that. Like,
Yeah.
let's leave and go do that instead. But
Review it after.
almost like a retrospective. But yeah, no, it's just like this kind of watered down version of something that you like really love and like maybe was kind of lightning in a bottle. I mean, Lego Batman movie, I feel like kind of captured the Lego is more of a true successor to Lego Movie than
Hilarious.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but still fine. I'd give it 6 stubbed Lego toes out of 10. Six stubbed Lego toes.
Great. TJ, final thoughts.
I can't stress this enough. This is not a dig at the movie because this movie had me laughing the whole time. There's a couple slow parts. And once again, not an insult to the movie. But the funniest part is the credits song.
Yes.
Lonely Island showed up for the credit song, and it was so funny. And, that part literally had me in tears at a couple moments, just laughing so hard. But as for the actual movie that you have to sit through to get to the funny credits, it's more of the same. If you enjoyed the Lego movie, you'll enjoy this movie. I think the characters' voices and stuff are all good, but it kind of lacks some of the charm and some of the heart of the first story. As far as sequels go, it's a great follow-up, but you always kind of want more. There's nothing new to it. So because of that, I'll give it 7 raptors out of 10. No, seven and a baby raptor. That's a half.
All right. The Lego movie, I grew up with Legos. And so when I saw they're making a Lego movie, I was so excited. And that movie captures the real feeling of playing with Legos. It's like, first you read the directions and build a set. And then the movie's like, no, tear that all down. Here, we're going to build our own creation that just revels in the fun and the essence of what Legos are. The second movie feels like you're just stuck building a Lego set of the first movie for 2 hours. And it's kind of a slog. And there's some bits where you're like, I remember the Lego movie. That was funny. I want to watch the Lego movie. Exactly like you guys said. I was thinking that the whole time. And there are really funny little bits in there that had me chuckling quite a bit. And most of the characters are still pretty likable. And it's got a nice world. There's the animation looks great. There's a lot of stuff to like about this movie, but it definitely gets stuck into the trappings of a sequel, and it feels like it's talking down to its audience a lot more than the first one does. And for that, I have to give this I give it 5 spaceships out of 10.
That's not nearly enough spaceships.
No, not enough. I'll give it 5.5. 5.5 spaceships.
That's enough.
Benny's working on the 6th one. He's not quite there. But I would love a Lego Benny movie. If we're getting more Lego movie spin-offs, Lego Benny.
I'll watch a 15-minute webisode.
I'm all on board. Him trying to do a thing, I'll watch it.
He's got his own line in the movie
Gravity
that says
and Interstellar parodies in it.
Hell yeah. You could you could do a lot with that.
Apollo 13 parodies.
Another Chris Pratt as Star-Lord.
Yeah, oh my god. But yeah, you're right though. I think the Lego Batman movie is a better sequel to the Lego movie because it captures that feeling a lot closer. And I think that movie is equally funny to the first movie. Those movies are comparable with laughs.
It's a great Batman movie.
And it's a great Batman movie. It's a great Batman parody. I would love them to do more movies like that. But the Lego Ninjago movie apparently is kind of more like this. From what I heard.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to see a Lego Harry Potter movie like the Batman one.
Lego Harry Potter.
Parody.
I mean, Lego Justice League, using the Lego Batman character could be really fun. Using the green, the characters they've already established, they could do something here.
Well, and then you still get Will Arnett, so there's enough crossover there.
Channing Tatum as Superman.
Holy multiverse, Lego.
Jonah
Hill
as
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And was that actually Jason Momoa?
I think it was.
Or was it just voice clips of him from the trailer for Aquaman? It was just hoo-yeah the whole time.
There wasn't full. It was like, my man.
I think that was straight up the trailer. Yeah. That was good. So yeah, this has been our review of the Lego Movie, the second part. I think overall, I don't really. You don't rush out to see this in the theaters. If you have kids, go for it. Otherwise,
great.
You could wait for it. You could wait for it.
If you haven't seen their other movie in theaters right now, I would see Spider-Man first.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna see a Lord and Miller produced movie, just see that first, and then go see this after.
That's a great idea. And on that note, I think that'll be it for our review today. I think our next review is going to be another Netflix movie because, man, Netflix is just pumping out the hits right now. So I'll keep you in the dark as to what that is, but stay tuned next week for that. And as always, I'm Scott.
I'm Ben.
I'm TJ.
And this has been a review. Thanks for listening.